Harper Audio presents Memo to the President-elect: How We Can Restore America's Reputation and Leadership by Madeleine Albright with Bill Woodward. Read by Madeleine Albright. Copyright 2008 by Madeleine Albright. Production copyright 2008 by HarperCollins Publishers. Operation Vittles by Irving Berlin. Copyright 1948 by Irving Berlin. Copyright renewed, international copyright secured, all rights reserved, reprinted by permission. Dedicated to America's presidents, both good and not so good, whose labors on behalf of our country have endowed the office with its rich history, and to the candidates for the White House in 2008, whose willingness to place their records and reputations on the line reflect what leadership demands and democracy is all about. Prologue. For Americans, the death of a president is traumatic. We mourn together the passing of a man and a piece of our history. In meeting halls across the land, the squalls of partisanship are calmed. Mortality softens our view of one another. Whether in person or vicariously, we file by the casket. The death of a president led to this book, for it was on January 2nd, 2007, at a funeral service for Gerald Ford, that I conceived it. The setting was Washington's majestic National Cathedral, where, counting Ford, 5 presidents, members of an exclusive club, were gathered. Also present were 6 first ladies, members of another exclusive club, which included for the first time an aspirant to membership in both. Ford is the only president to take the oath without having had his name on a national ballot. He was an unlikely chief executive, known less for his accomplishments than his kindly temperament. He was the kind of politician who might show up for dinner without feeling he had to be the center of attention, the archetypical middle American, made extraordinary by the office he held. On this bleak midwinter morning, Ford had no way to avoid the spotlight. Newspapers ran stories about his life, cable stations recycled documentaries, former colleagues searched for the right adjectives to sum him up. In the cathedral, the president sat in the front pews: Carter, Bush, Clinton, Bush. I wondered if they were thinking of the day when the nation would put aside all else to remember them. It is how our minds work, to think such thoughts at a funeral, whether one has been president or not. Mindful of the security, I'd arrived early. Waiting for the service to begin, I recalled my experience with the Future Presidents Club. As a student, I had interviewed John Kennedy, then still a senator, for my college newspaper. The only question I remember asking was whether he would give me his autograph. He was happy to oblige. As an adult, I had the privilege of advising a number of Democratic candidates for national office, including Geraldine Ferraro, the first woman to run on the ticket of a major party. All the candidates I counseled were people whom I admired, but even so, all but one of them lost, the exception being Bill Clinton, who invited me to serve as Secretary of State, the best job I could imagine. President Ford's memorial service could not have been more traditional. Grand old Protestant hymns, fluttering flags, declarations of pride in America, and confidence in that promise of promises. Whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. It is with words of this nature that we both accept our ending and peer beyond it, acknowledging mortality, but preparing for what comes next. Americans especially are in the habit of looking forward. That has certainly been my reflex, which is why the idea came to me, even while saying goodbye to an old president, that I might compose a memo to a new one. Motivational speakers tell us that we should learn how to brief the boss in the time it takes to ride an elevator from the 10th floor to the 1st. A useful skill
Sample complete. Ready to continue?